Good morning, everyone. I'm Julie Livingston, back for another episode of PR Patter, my semi-weekly show where I talk to the amazing people from across my public relations and marketing network. If you like what you see today, please go to wantleverage.com and download my free tip sheet. Make your C-suite stand out on LinkedIn. It's chock full of tips and takeaways to really make your executives stand out on the LinkedIn platform and promote their thought leadership. Today, I'm delighted to welcome my guest, Amy Perez. Amy is an intuitive problem solver who thrives on overcoming challenges. I love that, Amy. Her expertise extends far beyond marketing, with a proven ability to tackle diverse issues head on. From grassroots and housing nonprofit organizations to the B2B tech world, and even a sprinkle of B2C law, Amy's experience runs the gamut. She excels at establishing and shaping brands from the ground up, setting the stage for success. And that's why she co-founded Fluentica to support the next generation of brands ready to make waves. So welcome, Amy. It's great to see you today.
Hi, Julie. Thank you so much for having me here.
So I'm a B2B business, and there are so many challenges that I face in promoting my own company, my own work. Um, Let's talk about some of the common challenges that B2B businesses face, especially smaller organizations.
Where do we start? So one of the, one of the main challenges that B2B businesses have is leads. That's the first thing they come to us, for example, to our agency, and they want leads. And I understand, we all want leads, but I think the first thing that we do with our clients is, taking them back to, okay, what do you have before you get to leads? So I guess one of the main issues that B2B usually have are the messaging part. So it's not really clear what they do, who they do it for, why they do it. And I think that's the main issue when it
So
comes
there's
to.
some kind of disconnect between, I guess let's start with the website because that's usually the first thing people see, or else they're an individual's LinkedIn profile. So there's often a disconnect between what's on the website, what's on the internal pages of the website, what's in their other marketing materials or social media.
Yes, there is indeed a disconnect in all of their marketing environments. Starting with the website, for example, what we usually do is we audit the website to see, are you aligned with what you're saying? Let me take a look at your message. Are you different from other businesses, as you're saying? And usually the pitch that comes from the founder is awesome, but it's not really aligned with what we see on the website. So we start from there.
So you bring a fresh perspective, and I think this is a great tip because so many B2B companies, especially smaller ones like mine, where we get very I can't think of the word. We get very in our own heads,
Yeah.
right? We get tunnel vision. We're looking at our own things. You can't always bring a fresh perspective to that. In fact, it's very hard, I think, to bring a fresh perspective when
Yes.
you're looking at your own stuff. And so bringing in an outside person or team to really examine that with fresh eyes, pretending, they can pretend they don't know anything about you. What are their key takeaways? What are they getting instantly when they look at your website?
Yeah. So we usually start with asking the tough questions that they don't like to answer. They seem uncomfortable when answering those questions. And then from there, they start realizing, oh, wait, like they have like that aha moment where they're like, oh, this is what it's about. This is what I do. I get it. Like I'm seeing it now. Whereas there are other clients who are, it might take them a little longer to understand what they do and how they do it differently from other businesses.
So, what are some of the other issues that could be happening with a website?
So the website for B2B, especially, actually for any business, B2C, anything really, it needs to be optimized. Let's talk about SEO, for example. But before even getting into SEO and keywords and things like that, usually the websites that we encounter are not really intuitive. There's not like a consistent story that the website tells. It's usually jargon, and I get it. We all do it. As you said, we're all like only seeing what we want to see, and not really what our customers or our audience wants to hear. So it's just a matter of putting like connecting the dots and seeing how we can tell a story first and how we can structure that visually as well, right? Because if you come to a website and you're seeing that the message is all over the place, and then you have like a text here, and then you don't have like any text in the middle, and then you're immediately going to go to another website because you're like, okay, this doesn't look professional, so I might just go somewhere else. Especially when it comes to tech.
And it could be a
Yeah,
small fix, right? Like could be, so the website could be slow. I know I have
yes,
issues with about the speed with my site. It could be outdated looking. Maybe the design is just not, it doesn't look modern. It doesn't look
yeah.
contemporary, or the messaging could be
Yes,
unclear.
correct. And sometimes even the font, it's those minor changes, as you said. The typography is really small and you can read. So how do you expect your prospect to read?
Right. Maybe it's not ADA
Exactly,
compliant.
correct. So starting from there, we're very transparent with our clients. When they come to us, we're like, okay, you want to do pay ads because that's usually what they want to do first. Let's start from here. So if they come to your website and if they see this, what do you think? What's going to happen? And we kind of like go into like a discovery kind of phase with them. It's like an educational journey type of thing. And then they start seeing it from the outside, not from like the business.
Are most companies able to do that?
it
'Cause that's
is.
hard. That's really hard. That's reality hitting you
It
in the
is. It is
face.
hard. We actually do care a lot about our prospects. We do see potential in what they do and how we can make it work. So we take our time. Sometimes it takes us, 4 rounds of calls to make them see what they're not seeing. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, and that's okay. Um, we understand, they're, I guess.
It's like somebody criticizing your baby.
Exactly. And we try to be very empathetic with that because I understand, it's
Right.
like we're business owners. And if they come to us and they criticize our businesses, we're going to be like defensive always. That's like human behavior, and that's okay. So we try to like give them, like send them emails with insights and, some things that kind of like sparks something in their minds, and they can see, their business, for example, going through that change. Um, if they're seeing it, somewhere else with their competitors or things like that.
So why does this alignment, which is I think what you're talking about, how does that how does that tie into agency or company growth?
So there are different ways and you can grow. You can grow organically and you can have like really quick growth. And then just, through pay ads, and that works also. But I firmly believe in organic growth, the one that's slow and the one that you build.
Slow
Yeah,
and steady.
exactly. It works all the time, especially for B2B since sales cycles are really long. It's good for the agency and for the customer, for the client also to go through that process of growth and see the growth happening in real, instead of, like if we were another type of agency, we would just take them and be like, oh, let's do pay ads, and you're going to get your leads, but I don't know if they're going to stay with you. They might just, come to you once, maybe twice, and then they'll leave because they'll find another agency that's taken them through that nurturing phase, which you're not. But if you want to grow, quickly, we can make it happen if you want to. But we recommend you this path. It's a little longer, but
Take it step
yeah,
by
yeah,
step.
it's a little longer, but it's more sustainable, and most of them understand that part.
So I would imagine that in this first conversation that you have with clients and
I
talking
lost you
about,
there.
where there might be a disconnect from their website to their social media platforms to their thought leadership content, etc., their email nurturing sequence, that this could be overwhelming, right? So, how do you have, oh, here comes Amy. Amy is back.
Sorry.
Hi, Amy. Sorry about that. I don't know what
Mhm.
happened. So, let me just repeat. So, when you have this first conversation with companies about how there might be a disconnect in the messaging, or the social media messaging doesn't really line up to what's on the website or what's in the thought leadership, their email marketing sequence is off, this could be very overwhelming
It is.
to a client, to a company. What are some practical steps that even a small team can take to make these fixes happen?
So most of the time, they already know what their message is. So what we do first is audit, for example, their website, social media, any online presence that they have, and any material, marketing material that they have. We gather all of that and we put it together in a way that they can see it with their eyes as we break it down in a call.
So you make it very
Yes,
visual
yes,
for them.
yes. We do make it very visual. We even have a presentation in which we have, we ask the tough questions in order for them to see, how we can improve their current marketing material. But the first thing we do is insistent in the fact that their website is their 24/7 salesperson, and they need to start from their website.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question
Yeah,
about it.
they need to
Yeah.
start from there. And then having a good website, it doesn't have to be like the most, modern and have like 20 pages or anything like that. We start with basic five pages. As long as it says it has the message that is going to make you look different and sound different than your competitors. Otherwise, they're not going to.
So it's not necessarily all the bells and
No,
whistles.
not necessarily. Yeah, it's I don't. It's again organic, simple. Just make it clear. What do you do? Tell me how you're going to help me solve my problem. Avoid the jargon. Like it's we hear this all the time. There's so many B2B businesses out there that are doing the same thing as you, that are doing the same thing as we are doing. But then how do you make it simple so they understand that what you're bringing is actual value?
Right. How do you showcase the
Yeah, yeah.
value?
How do you showcase that value? And then from the website, we also talk a lot about SEO and how SEO is going to help you be visible. Most of the websites that we audit, it comes, it's surprising that sometimes they're not even connected to Google Analytics.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about
Yeah,
that, Amy, if
yeah.
you would.
So most of them are they have a website, maybe Squarespace or Wix and those like easy to build website platforms.
Yeah, I have
Yeah, me
WordPress.
too. I mean, as a marketer, I prefer WordPress. But again, that's a personal opinion. And they're not even connected to Google Analytics. The websites don't have like a correct structure. So like heading one, heading two, the paragraphs, the bullet points, the formatting is not really good. So Google has so many rules in place for SEO that you need to follow first in order to be compliant with SEO and Google or search engines in general to understand what you do. And then from there, we keep it simple. Depending on the client, we try to keep it simple when it comes to a client that doesn't want to let go of their brand and their website. And then for those who are like bold and want to just have like this big brand change and things like that, we take it to the next step. So like, let's do some keyword strategy, content strategy. We're going to, you want leads, we're going to get you leads, but through SEO, and it's going to be organic. And while we do SEO and get your website ready, we also have email marketing, social media. Again, it depends on what the client wants and their budget also. But it's usually how we do it. So we start from the website first and most.
What are you looking for when you examine one social media?
Consistency. So consistency in visual consistency and messaging consistency as well. Um, Again, it's not, and it's okay, and we're not graphic designers. I'm sorry, the prospects are not graphic designers, but at least you have to have some sense of colors, like what colors is your brand? Like, how do you want your brand to be recognized? And sometimes we don't see that. So they're like all of the colors of the rainbow on their social media feed. And that's okay. We all have to start somewhere. But we make them understand, like if somebody sees this feed, do you think they're going to think about your brand right away? And
Right.
it starts to make sense. Or sometimes we talk about examples, like if you see the color red and white, it's going to be Coca-Cola. So if you see I don't know, red, blue, and white, and then a circle, it's going to be Pepsi. So then they start connecting the dots, and I make it sound really easy. These conversations don't go as smooth,
No, no, no,
but
no,
it
no.
takes
Right.
some.
Right. Each component of your marketing is really a different
Yes,
conversation.
yes, for sure. And again, for B2B, since we mostly do B2B startups or um, established business, but those businesses that have established through word of mouth, it takes us time for them to understand the value of having a brand, and how a brand is not just a logo. It's also how you say things, when you say things, why you say things, and who you talk to.
What do you what do you think that what do you think that drives customers to come to your organization?
I think what drives customers to come to our organization is how transparent we are. From the get go, we are very resourceful. So it's not like we're trying to sell something. Yes, we do want you to become a client, but you're not going to receive emails from us asking you, hey, you know, we have this, it's $10,000, get it from us right away. Or we have this promotion, get it from us right away. No, we instead take the customer into a kind of like this is what could be happening if you were our client. So we're resourceful in that sense. Again, we do B2B, and B2B is all about being that resourceful brand. And we do it with and for our clients, and we also do it, for Fluentica. And I guess transparency, again, it's one of our main components.
What about, do you also look at other types of marketing, such as the email nurture sequence? And tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
that, Amy.
So the clients that we have, they are in different stages. So for example, we have one client that needed to do pay ads. But we were like, you do have, a list of contacts. Why don't we start from there? Because they were already your clients. Let's take a look at your messaging and how you've been sending, emails, and how many are actually interacting with your emails. And let's start to build an email program, maybe. And that's going to work for you for sure. Instead of having to, do pay ads and then waiting for them to see, especially for a company that is not really known. They don't really have a brand awareness, component. Um, and for this client specifically, we built an email program. So they have different audiences. We have to audit their audiences, how they were engaging with their emails, and then kind of building like small programs within that email program for each client.
Great.
And that part is actually working better than pay ads. So we do have different components.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, if you already have the most important things B2B businesses want, emails, contacts, then make it
It
work.
all comes back to that email list and that database. It does.
Right.
It does.
Yeah, you already have it. So don't let them go. You keep, even if you're not promoting anything, just, say hi, send something, send a little
Keep in
message.
touch. Send something of
Yeah.
value.
Yeah. And that's working for this client. Again, every brand, every business is different, but if you have an email list, go to that first. Take advantage of that.
Yeah, and continue to develop it. Don't forget about it. That's
Yeah.
that's something I struggle with a lot, is constantly developing the email list so that it continues to build.
Yeah, it's tedious. I understand that part. It's not easy, especially when you want to bring value to your contacts. It's not easy to, keep up with it. But just be genuine and try to, be resourceful, be there for them. Not only when you need something from them, when you want them to buy something from you. It's a 30, it's a year round thing. Do it
Well,
every
you want
day.
them to see you as a resource for other things. If they have a
Yeah,
question about something that you might work on, or, even if they're not looking to engage you in a particular project or program, you want to build that trust over time.
correct. Yeah, yeah. And building trust is true for any business, but especially for B2B. For B2B, you have to have that trust component with your clients, with your prospects. You have to let them know that you are the person or the brand, the business that they can trust for their business.
Amy, thank you so much for joining me today. This was a really interesting conversation, and I
Thank
think you
you.
provided a lot of good tips and takeaways for people who might be watching. How can people get in touch with you?
Thank you. So my website, our website for our business is fullanticamarketing.com. And we're also on social media. So LinkedIn is Fluentica New York
Or
City.
they
And
can
then,
find you on LinkedIn.
yes, and then can find, yeah, of course, Amy Perez on LinkedIn. I'm there always. I'm sometimes sharing tips and, making some videos. Again, that resourceful part of our B2B businesses.
That's great. All right, everybody else, please visit my website at wantleverage.com and download our free tip sheet. Make your C suite stand out on LinkedIn. And I'll see you next time in another episode of PR Patter.
Thank you, Julie, for